Chantel Winters Parker is one of the most vivacious and enthusiastic teachers at Terra Oaks Elementary. She's also an extremely organized and dedicated educator who demands excellence from every one of her first grade students. In this month's teacher feature, student reporter Stephanie Forshee takes a look at how Mrs. Parker makes students and their parents comfortable in her classroom.
There's no place like home, but for first graders at Terra Oaks Elementary, Chantel Winters Parker's classroom is pretty close.
She sets a good environment that's a very positive, very safe, nurturing environment.
Mrs. Parker creates this home away from home by caring for her students just as a mother does her children.
Children don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
They know that she loves them.
She's very nice. She gives hugs.
Not only does Mrs. Parker care for her students,
Let's give Caroline a round of applause. Yay!
but they care for each other.
If someone falls, instead of laughing, the kids all run over and say, "Are you okay? Do you need something? You need a Band-Aid?"
Mrs. Parker and her students consider themselves a happy family. And like any family, parents are an essential part of the student's success.
I think parents need to feel like they're always welcome in a school and that they are part of it and we have nothing to hide.
It lets my child see that I care.
Mrs. Parker has an open door policy, so the parents are always welcome.
Parents come in for lunch, they can come in for programs. She's very open to having parents in the classroom.
She's very kind and very considerate with you coming into the room and assisting with any activities that might be necessary.
The students respond well to having parents nearby.
It's funner when the parents come. We're all more excited.
It gives them a chance to show their parents what they do at school.
I think it's rewarding not only for the students, but I think it's rewarding for the parents as well to see that they are playing an active role in their child's education.
But parents are not just personal tutors to their own children.
They don't just focus on their own child, they focus on the whole class as a whole.
It's easier because everybody's around to help me and stuff.
Even if it's not your child, that they like the parent interaction.
Mrs. Parker and her team of parents help students with math, reading, and other subjects in school. But Mrs. Parker also makes teaching life skills a priority.
I do try to stress the character traits of respect, responsibility, honesty, perseverance, and just how to treat others.
She taught us how to act like we're supposed to do and say yes ma'am and no ma'am and yes sir and no sir. Do things nice and stuff. To give more than you receive.
Respect is one of the main character traits that Mrs. Parker emphasizes in her classroom.
She taught us not to speak while the teacher is talking.
There's no doubt about it when you walk in this classroom who's in control.
Responsibility is another.
They come prepared for school. They're not the ones who, oh, I forgot this or I forgot that.
I want responsibility to be something that they put number one on their list.
It just feels like she's teaching us something that we really need to know.
It seems Mrs. Parker's lessons are truly hitting home. For Shelby County Schools Report, I'm Stephanie Forshee.
Cordova High School science teacher Shelley Pike is certainly one of those teachers. Student reporter Stephanie Forshee brings you this month's teacher feature that may make you wonder how Mrs. Pike finds the time and energy to give so much to her school.
Each of these girls is full of school spirit for the Cordova Wolves. But where does that spirit come from? Perhaps from their pom sponsor, Mrs. Shelley Pike, a science teacher at Cordova High School. Many students may think science is nothing to cheer about, but Mrs. Pike takes every opportunity to bring her school spirit from the field or gymnasium to her biology and anatomy and physiology classes.
This has got to be my favorite science class I've taken all throughout high school. In each class period, I try to do a variety of different things.
There's just always something to do. You're never bored.
I don't lecture the whole time because that's boring to me too.
This year is Mrs. Pike's 5th as a teacher at Cordova, but she's still just as spirited as the day she started.
I had it first period, and I loved just coming in here every morning, and she was so enthusiastic and energetic. Even notes were fun just because of the way she'd express herself.
Her students also benefit from Mrs. Pike's personal approach in the classroom.
She's always there for us when we need her. She's a good friend to talk to. She's really cool and down to earth.
She is a good example to us, and she was a good role model for us to have.
She's there as a friend also and a mentor.
Close relationships with her students allow Mrs. Pike to cheer them on so they stay motivated.
She's the first teacher I ever wanted to study for.
It's a good thing Miss Pike enjoys dance because all of her duties at Cordova require her to move from activity to activity all day.
She's very involved and active in our school.
I am varsity and JV POM sponsor, which is one of the main responsibilities here.
She was a blood pathogen representative.
I am on the faculty advisory committee.
She's worked with me on her school improvement plan, has taken the leadership role there.
I'm on the staff development oversight committee.
She's here before school and after school.
But don't think that no one notices. Her work is well appreciated by all those around her.
We're all real thankful for Miss Pike to be involved with POM because it takes up a lot of her time, and also to be a teacher here and involved in so many things.
I think it's wonderful that she tries to help everybody out so much.
It makes me feel good that there are teachers out there who are willing to go the extra mile and help you.
Mrs. Pike's dedication and involvement with Cordova High School show everyone just how full of school spirit she is. For Shelby County Schools Report, I'm Stephanie Forshee.
Millington East Elementary teacher Ashley Michael seamlessly integrates computer technology into the day-to-day routine of her first graders. Student reporter Stephanie Forshee takes a look at how Mrs. Michael combines high-tech tools with a passion for teaching.
It's Friday, and for students in Ashley Michael's class at Millington East, that means B-Bucks.
You can buy stuff with them.
The kids love to have the B-Bucks, and at the end of the week they go in and they buy things from the treasure chest using the B-Bucks.
Students are motivated by the chance to earn a reward for their hard work.
I'm going to try and get 6 to 1.
The B-Bucks system is just one way Mrs. Michael makes her first grade class exciting for students. Technology is another.
They enjoy it. It's something different rather than just paper pencil activity. They love to go to the computer.
They'll do math problems on the computers, and they'll write sentences on the computers, and learn how to use the mouse.
We take tests. We do math, papers, and we print.
Okay, I think everybody is ready for that. By emphasizing computer use in the classroom, Mrs. Michael gives students a technological advantage at a young age.
They know what to do and how to do to access information that we wouldn't normally think first graders would even think they need, but they use and use wisely every day.
When I bring them in my classroom, I can tell who has been using the iBooks or who's been using the computers.
We know that the age is changing and everything is more technology geared and technology oriented.
Educational games like this one reinforce what the students learn and make them more comfortable with technology. Mrs. Michael also influences her colleagues to use technology more in their classrooms.
She's always using computers, and I think the other teachers at the school have learned from that, watching her.
I think the more comfortable the other teachers get with it, they see that it's not scary and it's very easy to deal with.
I have been able to learn how to use the iBooks with her help. I like the fact that I can get a lot of good ideas from her that I can use that really are beneficial to my students.
And as technology continues to advance, Mrs. Michael's students will be ready to embrace it. For Shelby County Schools Report, I'm Stephanie Forshee.
Fourth grade teacher Lee Loft knows not every student can make the best grade in her class. However, she does expect that every student put forth their best effort every day. In this month's teacher feature, Student reporter Stephanie Forshee takes a look at how Mrs. Loft uses praise and encouragement to motivate students at Bartlett Elementary.
I think I can. I think I can. This is what students in Mrs. Loft's 4th grade class at Bartlett Elementary must tell themselves in order to achieve excellence.
If you're going to do something, you got to give it your best shot. She wants everybody to, do well in her class. She lets them know that they're capable of being anybody or anything that they want to be.
To Mrs. Loft, the effort students put into a subject is more important than the grade they get out of it.
As long as you're doing your best, you're okay in her class.
Not everybody's going to make an A or a B or a C. It's just what you can do, so when you walk away from it, you can feel good about your product that you have left behind.
That's our favorite thing to say. Have your best effort every day.
As long as students give it their all, Mrs. Loft works to improve their grades.
Like 80 cents, 60 cents, 40 cents.
Oh, okay.
For the child who's not doing well in a particular subject, she'll do what she can to pull them up.
She lets us rework it, and she regrades it with our answers.
She'll teach us if we don't get it right. She'll tell us to do it over and over again. And after that, we'll get tired of doing it, and we'll get it right the next time.
Mrs. Loft uses rewards like these tickets to keep students motivated to perform at their best.
We have an auction every 9 weeks, and we use them to bid for the stuff. Whoever has the most tickets gets the good stuff.
So many tickets, so many ways to earn them.
If you're quiet outside in the line,
and if they have a good question, they might get 5 tickets, or if they weren't very nice in the hall, that's been a problem, they might get tickets.
If you find it on the floor and it's not yours, if you turn it in, you'll get some tickets for that because you didn't keep it for yourself.
Mrs. Loft's methods make her the perfect model for teachers.
The administration suggested that I take one of the teachers into Ms. Loft's class, and after I was in her class several times, I've taken other teachers back in. She is one of those teachers who wants to make a difference in her children's lives.
One way she makes a difference is through her constant praise and encouragement.
Good questions, both of you.
That kids need to raise their self-esteem and their confidence level. I see her do that.
Oh, you were very close. Good job, good estimating.
Her encouragement level is really high.
She is constantly complimenting and praising.
Good predictions I'm seeing.
They're excited, she's excited.
I try to focus on the positive. It's not always possible to do that, but I try to focus on the positive as much as possible.
Mrs. Loft's students are filled with praise for her too.
She's a great teacher.
She's funny.
She's fun to have around, and she's nice.
For the past 13 years, Mrs. Loft has made her tough job seem effortless. For Shelby County Schools Report, I'm Stephanie Forshee.
Collierville High School's Anelda Carter knows how to teach AP US history, and she has the test scores to prove it. In this month's teacher feature, student reporter Stephanie Forshee takes a look at how Mrs. Carter's high expectations translate into high achievement from her students.
And who was that person? Taft. All right. Howard Taft. What had he been?
As you might have guessed, this is a high school U.S. history classroom. But what you might not have guessed is that Collierville High School's Anelda Carter is teaching as if it were a college classroom.
She tries to tell us like what college is like and taking notes and that kind of stuff, and she tries to make it a college level class.
I am more of a lecture type teacher. What? Right, reclaiming some lost land.
We outline the book, we outline every chapter in the book, and then she goes back and reinforces it with notes and discussions, and we also give presentations.
What the students are working so diligently to learn is U.S. history.
Right now they're doing the women's suffrage, and so she's having them do a number of reading assignments in women in history.
Great, but women were making less. What about children?
It's not just
going over facts and numbers. It's about the way people thought in the time period.
She also tries to tell us the reasons behind things that happened in our history.
Mrs. Carter teaches that knowing U.S. history helps students become more responsible citizens.
If you can learn from our history of the way people did things that were successful and the things that weren't successful, it does help you in your decisions in the future.
They're all approaching 18, so they're going to be voters pretty soon, and I want them to be educated voters.
Mrs. Carter's classes also help students anticipate the future and understand what's going on at this very moment.
So that's the purpose of natoring here. I do more of trying to compare what's going on today with what went on in the past. The election of 2000, remember, Nader was in.
She likes to talk a lot about current events, something I'm really into.
Certain things that happened maybe 20 years ago can affect how people act 30 years down the road.
Mrs. Carter's ultimate goal is for her students to develop a sense of pride in our country.
I love this country, and I hope that that flows from my mouth, and hopefully they hear that.
I'm an American, and if I'm an American, then I want to know about my heritage. I want to know about my ancestors, and I want to be proud of it.
If they have that appreciation, that respect, and that love, then they want to be good voters, good citizens, participants in their government.
Mrs. Carter's AP classes are learning important lessons about U.S. history and receiving college credit at the same time.
Most schools will give me 6 hours with a 4 or 5 on the exam, which is, that could get mainly all your history at some schools, so that's very good.
The more honors and AP classes they see, and the better grades they see in those classes, that I've got a much better chance of being accepted or getting certain scholarships.
The students are going above and beyond to make sure their efforts are not in vain.
When they enter college, though they don't major in history, they still realize that they can achieve a great deal.
I believe the student who rises to that challenge of taking an advanced placement course, I believe that those are the students who have a definite idea of where they're going.
Mrs. Carter's students have a couple of years to go before college, but they are sure to be history buffs once they get there. For Shelby County Schools Report, I'm Stephanie Forshee.
Student reporter Stephanie Forshee brings us the literary tale of Sue Keir and her students in this month's Teacher Feature.
Once upon a time at Woodstock Middle School, there lived a 7th grade reading teacher who believed that literature could be a new adventure every day.
Reading has always been one of my best subjects, and it's been a lot better this year, especially because Ms. Keir's a great teacher.
The first chapter for Sue Keir's students is realizing the importance of reading.
If you don't understand literature, you're not going to understand really your other subjects.
Like in math, you have to read things. In social studies, you have to read paragraphs about presidents and things like that. In science, you have to read readings and like pretty much everything.
A lot of kids hate reading, especially in middle school, and she makes it so much fun that they just love it and they can't wait to read the next book.
Mrs. Keir emphasizes that students will use their reading skills on every step of their learning journey.
As they get older, there are more things they have to read. They go on to school, they get into high school, go on to college. They have to, whether they like it or they don't. I want them to comprehend what they read.
Mrs. Keir is constantly striving to keep her lessons new each day. Today, the students are learning how to create poetry, but tomorrow could be a different story.
I'm one of these people that I'll try it. If it works, fine. If it doesn't work, well, that's okay too.
When you come to Ms. Keir's class, you're excited because you're going to learn something different.
I do activities with them, having them repeat back, tell a story in their own words, using the characters, anything at all I can come up with, get ideas even from them.
Mrs. Keir acts as a narrator for her reading class.
She won't just stick to the book, she'll tell you stuff that actually happened to her.
I wish I had the ability to tell the stories like she does. She can make you feel as if you were there.
And now for the climax, Accelerated Reader, a computerized testing program that allows students to choose their own adventure.
They'll recommend it to someone else, or they get into a series and they want to read other books in that series.
Conquering the computerized test is very important because it counts for nearly half of each student's grade.
It increases their reading, increases their speed, increases their vocabulary, it increases their comprehension in all the areas. All the reading strategies are tied into it.
When they first started, they were reading like maybe 115 words a minute. Now they want to read like 190, 180.
For students who wish to learn more about computers, Mrs. Keir supervises the technology team, which offers another exciting chapter in their learning.
She teaches them technology skills that they can use, and so if something happens in the school and there's a broken computer or something, she can take the children in and they can do things, they can fix it.
They come around to the various teachers' rooms and they basically do maintenance on our computers.
If the computers shut down or if anything goes wrong with the computers, as sometime in the school, in the middle of class, sometimes we'll get pulled out if it's very important and we'll go and fix them.
When the technology team helps out around the school, it makes for a happy ending for teachers at Woodstock Middle.
We have a lot of technology here at Woodstock, but if it's not running all the time, then it's of no use at all. So the kids help quite a bit in keeping it going.
Well, they're really, really good.
The magic of this tale lies not only within Mrs. Keir, but in her students as well.
I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world.
Mrs. Keir and her students have a lot to look forward to before they close the book on Woodstock Middle School. For Shelby County Schools Report, I'm Stephanie Forshee.